Hi, Andy. We're giving out the NCAA.com Reporter of the Year award. Third place, sorry. Oh, he's the bridesmaid. AP Coach of the Year? Is it evening yet? No, not yet. Not Central Time. Good afternoon once again, ladies and gentlemen of the media. In just a few moments, we'll have our AP Coach of the Year presentation here in the main interview room. Barry Bedlin of the Associated Press is going to join us and present the AP Coach of the Year award. This news conference, different from many of the others that we have in the main interview room. You are allowed to roll video on this. You are allowed to take photos. Please refrain from any flash photography, of course, but you are allowed to roll video, take pictures, go live on social media, your Snapchats, your Facebook Lives, your Twitter Lives. We don't discriminate here in the main interview room during this news conference. Whatever social media platform you'd like to go live on, or if you want to record video for a later time, that is all good. Only for right now. Maybe we'll throw a couple surprises at you later on this week. I don't even know. We're going to let you roll video. But for this one, you're good. No, we will not. I've been told we will not. It's not a funny joke to even joke about. I got you. I understand. Texas Tech Red Raiders, their Final Four participants. They're joining us right now. Welcome. You're also allowed to clap during this news conference if you want. We are recording this for upload, so if you need footage of this, we will have that later on the site where you download all the NCAA videos for these news conferences. And we also have our four very talented microphone attendants, Matt, Dylan, Olivia, and Ben. So when it comes time for the Red Raiders to put Coach Beard on the spot and ask him very difficult questions after he receives his award, we're going to send the microphone stewards in your direction. Just raise your hand, and we'll give you guys the microphones for your questions. Hey, Coach. Welcome back. Congrats. We're joined now by Barry Bedlin from the Associated Press and your 2019 AP Coach of the Year from the Texas Tech Red Raiders, Chris Beard. Barry's going to start things off with an opening statement. Then we'll ask Coach to say a few words. Then we'll take some questions. Go ahead, Barry.
I'm the sports products director for the Associated Press, and it's always my pleasure to come to the Final Four every year to announce our coach and players of the year. And since 1967, the recipient of this award has been selected by the same panel of journalists who vote on the AP Top 25 poll. Past recipients include John Wooden, Bob Knight, Roy Williams, and two of the other coaches in this year's Final Four, Tom Izzo and Tony Bennett. This year's recipient is the first for Texas Tech University. In fact, he is the first for any Texas school. While he's a graduate and former student assistant of Texas Tech's rival, the University of Texas, his history is with the Red Raiders. He has served at Tech as an assistant, later associate head coach for 10 seasons under Bob Knight and his son Pat. It's worth noting that the elder Knight is a three-time recipient of this award during his days at Indiana. This year's recipient then left Tech in 2011 and coached a year in South Carolina with the ABA, then a year as head coach at McMurray University in Abilene, Texas, 2 years as head coach at Angelo State, also in Texas, and then at the University of Arkansas Little Rock for his first season as a Division I head coach before returning to Lubbock. Last year, and only his second season at Tech, he led the team to its first winning record in Big 12 conference play in 11 years, as well as a trip to the Elite Eight, where it lost to eventual champion Villanova. And this year, he has led Texas Tech to the most overall wins in a season with 30, a share of the Big 12 conference regular season title, the program's first in 23 years, and most importantly, he also has led the Red Raiders to their first ever Final Four. And yes, he's done all this in just 4 years as a Division I coach. He's done it also at a school that has a reputation more for football than basketball, and he already had as many 25-win seasons at Tech than that it had in its previous 90 years in the program. Now, as someone myself who moved from Atlanta to Dallas, when I came to Texas, I was told you're not a Texan, no matter how long you live here, because you weren't born here. But if you accomplish great things, the state will accept you. Well, Coach Beard was born actually in the Atlanta area, moved to Texas at a young age, proud to call himself a Texan, and I think most Texans would claim him now, given his winning record. So this year's AP Men's College Basketball Coach of the Year is Chris Beard of Texas Tech.
Coach, you want to say a few words?
Yes. First, I just want to thank everybody with the Associated Press, the voters, the board, and just tell you it's just an honor. It's really, really humbling, and it's something I don't take for granted. I'm just thrilled and honored to be a part of the list. I was looking at the list of coaches, and it starts with Coach Wooden, one of the forefathers of our game. I remember getting my first Pyramid of Success when I was a high school player. And then look, my Coach Knight, my mentor, and Coach Izzo, our next opponent, and down the list, all the great coaches. So it's humbling. And you ask yourself how somebody just like me, a normal guy, could end up on a list like that. And really, it's because of the game of basketball. So first, I just want to thank the game of basketball, for everything it does for people, that it changes lives. And it's just a special thing, especially college basketball. When executed correctly, it can just change lives. So none of us are here today without basketball. Second, most importantly, this is an award that we won this year, and I was having the same conversation with Jarrett Culver just a couple weeks ago in my office when he won Big 12 Player of the Year, and Culver and I shared the view that any award that you get in athletics in a team sport is team-based. And so I really shared this award with everybody, not only on this year's team, but every Texas Tech team we had as we built this. And I just want to really, really thank the players. This is just so cool that we're here when we get the award and you guys are here. I don't know what I possibly could have that John Wooden and Bob Knight and Coach Izzo didn't have, but I don't think that they probably had their team 30 minutes removed from practice sitting on the front row when we got the award, so this is special. So I want to thank each player that played on this year's team. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys. Thank you, guys. Personally, if you just allow me just a quick minute and just give me a favor, I just wanted to thank everybody that kind of helped me get to this point to be able to coach a team like this year's Texas Tech team that's still playing in April, which is always a personal goal of mine. It started at Texas with Coach Penders and Eddie Orr and Vic Chili giving me an opportunity. Danny Casper at Incarnate Word hired me for my first coaching job. Shannon Hayes, might have my moment right here, boys. Shannon Hayes at Abilene Christian gave me my first full-time NCAA job, and then Vic Trilly gave me a great break at the University of North Texas, where I was a young Division I assistant coach. Then I got my first head coaching job at Fort Scott Community College. I'll always be indebted to Kevin Gundy giving me that opportunity, and then Rusty Bean gave me an equal opportunity at Seminole State College a year ago. Then really the break of my career, getting with Pat Knight and Coach Knight at Texas Tech, where I spent 10 years and I'm really, really proud of. Corey Hafner and those guys hired me to coach the professional team, the South Carolina Warriors. Ron Holmes with McMurray University. Sean Johnson and Dr. Brian May giving me a chance to coach at Angelo State. Chase Conk believing in me when I was just a D2 coach, giving me a chance to coach on the biggest stage and making a really unpopular hire and hiring me to come to Little Rock. I'll always be especially grateful to Chase. And then ultimately, Kirby Hocutt giving me a chance to come back to Texas Tech, where we're building something special just in our third year. I know that was a long list. I've had a great journey, but thank you for giving me the time to mention those people.
Sounds good. We'll now take questions for Barry or for Coach Beard. If you have a question, raise your hand. We'll send a microphone towards you. Let's start on the left side of the room toward the center.
Chuck Carlton, Dallas Morning News. Chris, congratulations. One thing your players have talked about is even before practice started, the retreat you did in Happy, Texas. Could you talk about what you were trying to achieve, the inspiration for that, and what you saw coming out of that with this team?
I can, Chuck. I'd be glad to. And one thing I left out, we just got done practicing, so I don't really know if I'm on point here, but certainly all the coaches that I've worked with over the years, it's humbling to see Augie and Al, and I think Ted's maybe here, and might be some other guys, Trilly. And I appreciate all you guys and everything y'all did for us. And what was the question? The ADD's kicking in. Yeah, as many as you guys know, I really am a fan of college football. It's kind of my passion, equally with basketball, more profession. So I spent a lot of time, and I was reading a book about Bear Bryant, the Junction Boys, where Coach Bryant took his first A&M team down to Junction, Texas, which is about 4.5 from Lubbock, and his teams had a retreat basically, and a little bit more than a retreat in those days, but we came up with the idea if we could get the guys out of town every year before official practice starts and kind of set some goals, get to know each other. It could be a special thing when a team executes and buys in. This team executed about as well as I've ever seen. They really bought in. We had a special weekend, a couple days away from cell phones, away from outside distractions, and really defined who we are and who we wanted to be.
Continuing with questions for Coach Beard or for Barry, if you have any. If you have a question, raise your hand. Any further questions for the Coach of the Year? Let's go back to the center. We'll go over there next.
Might as well take advantage of the opportunity. Chris, have you heard anything from Nick Saban about the offer of seats behind your bench? But and in a more serious way, you talked about the process. The players talked about the process. How much have you been influenced by trying to incorporate some of the things Nick Saban does with his program?
Yeah, quite a bit. I have not heard from Coach from my knowledge, but I'm not really on my cell phone this month at all, so really haven't checked a text or a call in a long time. So I apologize to any friends out there that are hammering me that I haven't returned phone calls, but we believe in eliminating distractions in our program. That's one thing that I do in the month of March. But, yeah, of course, I study everything I can about Coach Saban. And besides Texas Tech football, I follow Alabama about as close as anybody other than Tech. And just the process, basically, where, you're not a results-oriented deal. It's a day-to-day process, not so much the scoreboard, but winning each day is basically the backbone of what we try to do with Tech basketball.
Let's go toward the back of the room on the right side. Chuck?
Yeah, Chuck Culpepper from the Washington Post. What have you found to be the value of having moved around a lot?
I've never really considered it moving around. It's just when you win, you coach good players, opportunities come. I can honestly tell you only one time in my career have I ever really been looking for a job, and that's when I needed one. And so just opportunities come when you coach really good players. But I think there is probably experience and value in coaching in different situations. I wouldn't trade my experiences for anything. I'm very proud of my background in small college and junior college and Division II, and I feel like I represent a lot of people, maybe people I don't even know. And to be sitting up here getting this award today is so humbling. And, I hope that there's some coaches like myself out there that see this and don't ever give up. Don't let anybody ever tell you where you can coach or what you can and can't do. Just keep fighting and love the game. It's all about basketball, just coach your guys and try to win the next game and do the right thing and get your team to play the right way and get guys better and develop games. And, if you do that, basketball is a great game. It can do a lot. Obviously, it's done a lot for me and my family. It's done a lot for these players. But I just, the game of basketball, I think, is just a beautiful thing.
Continuing with questions for Coach Beard. Oh, there's one up in the front row on the left. Sir, please, your name and media outlet before you ask your question.
Yes, Tariq
Or your
Owens.
affiliation, if you prefer that to media outlet.
Tariq Owens, Texas Tech men's basketball. How you doing?
Hey, Tyreek.
So we were just wondering, if you were to consider yourself to be a dog, what kind of dog would you be?
I like all dogs, Tariq. I've had a few over the years. I'm the guy one time that went to a mall, and right next to Chick-fil-A, there was a pet store. And I went in there and saw this little fluffy white dog, and everybody kind of was holding it all day, and I asked what it cost, and it was ridiculous. But because I have 3 daughters, Tariq, I was influenced into buying a pet store dog. And the pet store dog was great. It got home, and it whined a little bit, but it had been around, people. But I have no problem with the pet store dog. But I'm also a guy that has bought a dog at the Humane Society. And those are those dogs more like street dogs. They got about 48 to live. And they live with a little more urgency, and they understand accountability and discipline a little bit better. And they're fortunate. They're not entitled because they were in the pound, man. So with all due respect to pet store dogs, I really prefer street dogs.
Continuing with questions for the Coach of the Year, if there are any. If you have a question, raise your hand. Any further questions? All right, well, thanks, Coach, and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
That'll wrap things up in the main interview room for today. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. Coach Bruce Pearl of Auburn. Congrats, Coach.
Thank you very much. Great day.
I was a Division III guy, Geneseo, SUNY Geneseo guy.